in the kitchen with Georgia at the Hub on Smith.
Hi, and thank you for joining me in our fourth and final video here at the Hub on Smith looking at winter squash. I'm Georgia Boley. I'm the dietitian for the Hub on Smith in Sheridan, Wyoming, our senior center. And we have, for the last 3 weeks, done a video looking at different winter squash, acorn, butternut, and spaghetti, and how to prepare that very easily, and also what are the nutritional values of those squashes. And today, our final one is the pumpkin. So we're going to talk about how can you utilize this jack-o'-lantern that you might have from Halloween a couple days ago left over instead of throwing it away. What could you do with it? And we're going to look at several recipes and the nutritional value of the pumpkin. So if you do have a jack-o'-lantern and it's in good shape, there's no mold, I'm going to show you how you can utilize it to make several meals actually. So with the pumpkin, you can use the whole thing in different meals. Let's first look at the skin. For the skin, you can actually peel it while it's raw and then put those peels in the oven at about 375 for 15 minutes. You want to watch it so that it doesn't get too brown. And it makes an amazing chip. Super healthy, full of fiber, magnesium, and vitamin A, because vitamin A is what's giving it the color. And it really has a nice crisp to it. Like super has that crunch that we're all looking for in a snack that's a healthy, crunchy alternative to chips. Certainly would suggest trying that. So that is one way to get this pumpkin skin chip, is by peeling the outside of the pumpkin when it's raw. Another way that's a lot easier, might not get as crisp, but certainly worth trying, is you take the pumpkin meat. So here's a carcass of one of my jack-o'-lanterns, and I cooked it for 40 minutes, 375, and it's definitely ready to go to process, however I'm going to process it. But I can take the skin and I'm gonna peel, like I peeled this piece here, the flesh, and I can take the skin and still utilize that. And so after roasting it, I can then take this skin, which is not crisp yet, put it back in the oven and crisp it for maybe 10 minutes at 375. So that's another way to try to make the chip that would be easier than peeling it raw, is wait after roasting and just simply peel the skin off and then throw it back in the oven to crisp it up. So there's a way you can use the skin to eat. So once you peel the flesh after roasting it, cutting up your jack-o'-lantern and roasting it, you can do it upside or face up or face down. Then let the flesh cool, and there's several recipes you can use the flesh for that we're going to review in a minute. But let's look at what else you can do with the whole pumpkin. If you have a jack-o'-lantern, you don't have the guts anymore, but next time you can actually save the gross guts inside, and you can use that with other veggies to make a really nice broth. Really adds some wonderful flavors to a chicken stock or just a vegetable stock, where you would just put this in with some water, some celery, some onion, some carrot, garlic, maybe an apple, and let that simmer and make this really nice broth that you can use for soups, gravies, casseroles. So, and then you of course discard all of those vegetables and the guts out of the broth, but it leaves a really nice flavor. So that's what you can do with the guts if you wanted to use those as well. The seeds are awesome. They're so good for you too. The pumpkin seed is super high in protein, like most seeds and nuts, but particularly the pumpkin seed is very high in protein. Great source of omega-3, which is the fat that we're all trying to get more of in the American diet, because it's the one fat we tend to not get enough of in the American diet. And that's the fat that we think of as fish fat, because fish is one of your best sources. But pumpkin seeds are a great source of omega-3 and excellent source of magnesium, another nutrient that we as Americans have a hard time getting enough every day. So about 34% of your needs for magnesium and a quarter cup of pumpkin seeds in a day. So for the day. Great source of fiber, as is the flesh, as is the skin, and all of the beautiful yellow or orange color is really that vitamin A, those beta carotenes coming through, showing you how that nutritional value there of that vitamin A. So there's the nutritional piece. There's how you can process the carcass of your pumpkin instead of throwing it away if there's no mold on it. Some of the recipes you can use for the flesh, lots of them: pumpkin bread, chocolate chip pumpkin muffins. I have a recipe on my website at taylornutritionllc.com for chocolate chip pumpkin muffins. I also have a recipe for pumpkin pie for two, where you make you take the pumpkin flesh and some other ingredients and make pumpkin pie in mugs and microwave it. So that's a great way for if you're just cooking for 1 or 2 people to have a pumpkin pie experience. I have a recipe for a soup that is a pineapple pumpkin spice soup, and that's pretty good. It has a nice bright flavor with that pineapple coming through. And then my favorite recipe of all of my recipes on my website, which I plan to do with this pumpkin, is called, I have to look at it, it's a long label, but ginger roasted pumpkin and quinoa salad with mint, chili, and lime. It is delicious. Every time I've made it, people just love it. So certainly would encourage you to try that if you have this much pumpkin, and it takes up a lot of pumpkin too, which is great. So if you have this much pumpkin, it's a great recipe to use for the at least half of a pumpkin is what you end up using. Okay, so there's the pumpkin recipes that are on my website if you want to go check those out. Talked about the nutritional values, and then lastly, what I'd like to do is to highlight a recipe that is pumpkin butter. This is not on my website, but I found it while I was preparing for this class today, and it just sounds amazing, so I'm excited to make that today. Once you make the pumpkin butter, you can keep it in your fridge for up to 2 weeks. You can add it to smoothies. You can use it in place of butter and jam on your toast. You can add it to like anything that you're gonna have for dessert. Like you could dip like a shortbread cookie in it, or apples, or celery if you wanted. Or graham crackers. So there's some ideas, or a yogurt bowl. So I'm excited, and maybe you can put a comment on, if you make the pumpkin butter, what you used it for. I would love to see what other people are using that pumpkin butter for if you make it. So let's go ahead and make this pumpkin butter, and I will share the recipe as well here. So we're gonna take a blender. So what you'll need is a blender. And the spices you need are cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, cloves, maple syrup. You need maple syrup as well, and a little bit of salt if you want, and a nut. You can use cashews; they blend really, really well. I'm going to use walnuts. If you use a nut like almonds, it won't make it quite as creamy. If you have to blend it for a lot longer. But walnuts or cashews are a great choice to make a more buttery type of texture. So, and then I'm going to use the pumpkin flesh. Okay, so here I'm going to make the pumpkin butter, and then I hope to see comments on if you've made it, what you've actually used it for. And I look forward to next month in December doing videos. We're going to do some more videos, and we're going to talk about spices and herbs and how to use those for the holidays to spice up your holiday meals, and really looking at the health and healing elements of the spices and herbs that we can use. Thanks again for joining me. I look forward to seeing you in December when we do those videos. Thanks.
Thank you for watching this video. For more information, you can visit taylornutritionllc.com or call the Hub on Smith in Sheridan, Wyoming.